are now listening to the Grab Bag Podcast with Bear Cole. And it is I, Bear Cole. What's up, everybody? It's the Grab Bag Podcast. Liking that little intro song right there. That's actually a beat I was working on last night while I was watching, or right after watching Ozark. People kept telling me to watch that show, so I decided to check it out with my wife last night. It is awesome. We watched so many episodes. We were kind of binging it last night. So if you haven't checked out Ozark, definitely check out that show. Today's episode, it's episode 2. This is for all of the independent musicians out there, bands, anybody that needs to release their music through a music distributor to get it onto Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, anywhere that people are going to listen to their music. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of my experience after releasing music for decades, and why I currently have a setup with Ditto and DistroKid to release my music. So if you're looking at Ditto or DistroKid, which I definitely recommend, then this will give you some good information on my experience with both those companies. So in the past, I used to use TuneCore, CD Baby, some other options, which were perfect for that time because you could release your CD and people could actually buy physical CDs or the downloads, which was perfect. But that ship has sailed, and I don't really think that that's the way that the industry is going anymore. Those companies would actually charge you to release your album and then charge you a yearly fee to keep those albums up on stores, which could become ridiculously expensive. So, I mean, I've had up to 17 albums available online through different artist names. Since I go by multiple artist names, 17 albums, if you can imagine paying $30, $50 to every year for each one of those, and you got 17 of them, that price could go up exponentially. It was just too much. So I found some creative ways to get around it, but I really needed to find a way to get everything released. So I talked to a couple friends, and they recommended a company called Ditto. So I went to Ditto, and I was very impressed. I opened up my account. It was really easy to use. The user interface is great. I figured it out right away. The pricing is awesome because they do a model similar to DistroKid where you pay a yearly fee, but then you get unlimited releases. So if you're releasing a whole bunch of singles or you're releasing a whole bunch of albums, you're not paying for every single one of those. Now, there are built-in costs. It's like using the app. They have like the in-app purchases, right? Both of them have different costs that could go along with your albums, but it's still much more affordable in the end. So I had this idea that I wanted to re-release a whole bunch of my old music for two of the artist names that I go by. So Bear the Astronaut and Turntable Kachina. Now, some of those were just old albums that had been released in the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. They just needed a little remaster to make them sound more modern. But there was some stuff for Bear the Astronaut that I really wanted to remix and remaster to make it just get a much better sound. Some of them were projects where I was writing a whole bunch of songs at once and trying to release it really quick on purpose and maybe not perfecting the sound, but now I really wanted to kind of sit down in the studio and make them sound better. So I got all of those ready, and I was re-releasing multiple different albums by both those artists. So got into Ditto, started doing that, and everything was going great. And they were releasing things very quickly and releasing them right on the date that they were supposed to be released. And I was doing all of this because I wanted to build some momentum towards a new release by Bear the Astronaut called Late Night King. And I was going to release that album, and by re-releasing all the other stuff online and making it sound better, I was building momentum towards that release. Unfortunately, once I got that album up, I sent it to Ditto about May 1st, and they gave me a release date of May the 11th. Which is perfect. You should at least have 2 weeks for your music to be released online once they send it to stores, so you can try to get it on Spotify playlists. Try to give a little extra time to some of those distributors that might take a little bit longer. So I had the release date at May 11th. Now, it went way past May 11th, and I started submitting tickets to Ditto, asking them why
it didn't even show my album being sent to stores yet. So in Ditto, when you send it in, it goes to a status called in review, and then they have to review it and then send it out to stores. Well, it was still sitting in review. I was way past the date it was supposed to be released, and I was submitting tickets to their customer service and getting no word back at all. I didn't get one single answer to why it was taking so long. So I waited a little bit longer, but I just couldn't wait anymore. I talked to a couple of my friends that were using DistroKid. So I decided I'm going to just try this out and see how it goes. So I opened up an account with DistroKid. Now, it has a very similar setup to the way that Ditto works. You pay a yearly fee, you get unlimited releases, but there are some different add-on costs that could come with those releases. So if you want to add it to charts or you want to add different things to it, that price might, go up a little bit, or there might be a small yearly fee for your album. Got into DistroKid. The interface was a little bit more cumbersome. There's a lot more options, and I love the fact that you can add your lyrics to all your songs and credits. So I got to give the thumbs up to DistroKid on that one. They're definitely beating Ditto in the amount of options that you have when you're releasing your songs. And also, I found with Ditto, it was a little bit cumbersome because they don't give you many options of how to add a remix name or how to add another artist that's featured on a song. It's very, very limited on the way that they do that. DistroKid didn't have that problem. So I got a song, it was a single, put onto DistroKid, put it in for release, and literally went from in review to already sent to stores in a matter of hours from the time I submitted it. Now, this had taken weeks at Ditto. DistroKid did it almost immediately. So, got to give them another thumbs up right there. Now, I would have just moved everything to DistroKid at that point, to be honest. If you're an independent artist, you need to know the date that your album is going to be available, because you're going to be telling your fans or whoever might purchase that album or want to listen to it, it's going to be available on this date. And if it isn't, that's really, really bad for your business. So the only reason I didn't move away from Ditto is because they allow dance music and electronic music releases through Beatport and a couple other really good dance music themed sites. And I wanted to keep the availability to put my music out through them. They also have some easy ways to get your music onto Vevo. So they kind of have more options for where you can put your music. But their customer service sucks, and they don't even answer, and they're not releasing anything since that point on the dates that they said. I have a couple other singles that are set for release with Ditto that I'm still waiting to even get them sent to stores, and they were supposed to be released a week ago. So there's something going on over there. Customer service sucks. If you need to know that your release is coming out on a specific date and you're using Ditto, you're probably going to have to release it at least a month or more ahead of that date to know that it's actually going to make it on time. But what I did is I kept DistroKid open and Ditto open. So now I have the option to release to the main stores that DistroKid releases through. They have a much smaller list, but it's all the stuff that really matters. I can release through DistroKid to those stores and release through the other stores through Ditto. Now, it costs a little bit more, but it gives me the availability to get my dance music, electronic music up on Beatport and those specific sites that are important for that, but still get my music released much faster. So that's how I'm going to run it for a year or so, see how it goes. Not impressed at all with Ditto. If you're on a budget and you're trying to release a lot of music, don't go through TuneCore. Don't go through CD Baby. They have awesome things that you can do. They're great companies. They're just antiquated. And the best way for you to go is probably DistroKid, unless you need to get on specific sites, and then maybe doing something like I did with having the hybrid mix between DistroKid and Ditto is the best way to go. So if you're trying to get your music out there, if you have a new release for your band or yourself, maybe some DJ mixes, I hope that that's helpful for you. It's not a cool experience to go through, but I'm glad that I could use it as a learning experience and help some other people out with it. So once again, my recommendation would definitely be DistroKid. But right now, running the hybrid between DistroKid and Ditto gives me the opportunity to release a lot more places. And it's actually working out really nicely at this point. Once again, my name is Bear Cole. This is the Grab Bag Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys are interested in more information about myself and all of my musical endeavors as Bear the Astronaut, DJ Bear Cole, Turntable Kachina, and much, much more, make sure you go to firstdropmusic.com. That's 1ST drop, DROP, music.com. Make sure you guys sign up for the mailing list text. That's the best way to keep up to date with all the new releases and new information. We love you guys. Second episode's coming up really, really soon. Thank you for listening. Peace.